Exercise 7 and 8. Get ready, start. I take your leave, sir, and the indulgence of the House to refer to certain incidents which took place in this House, as well as the other House in the course of the last week, and which somewhat disturbed the normal serenity of the work of Parliament. Unfortunately, I was not here then, but since my return, I have endeavored to acquire myself fully with what happened in both the House of Parliament. Under our Constitution, Parliament consists of our two houses, each functioning in the allotted sphere laid down in that Constitution. We derived authority from that constitution. Sometimes we refer back to the practice and conventions prevailing in the House of Parliament of the United Kingdom and even refer to the upper house and a lower house. I do not think that is correct, nor is it helpful always to refer back to the procedure of the British Parliament, which has grown up in the course of several hundred years and as a result of conflicts originally with the authority of the king and later between the commons and the lords. We have no such history behind us, though in making our constitution we have profited by the experience of others. Our guide must therefore be our own constitution, which has clearly specified the functions of the House, of the people and the Council of States. To call either of these house and upper house or a lower house is not correct. Each house has full authority to regulate its own procedure within the limits of the Constitution. Neither house by itself constitutes parliament. It is the two houses together that make a parliament. It is the two houses together that make the Parliament of India. The successful working of our constitution as of any democratic structure demands the closest cooperation between the two houses. They are, in fact, parts of the sum structure, and any lack of that spirit of cooperation and accommodation would lead to difficulties and came in the way of the proper functioning of our constitution. It is therefore particularly to be regretted that any sense of conflict should arise between the two houses. For those who are interested in the success of the great experiment in nation building that we have embarked upon, it is a paramount duty to bring about this close cooperation where each other. There can be no constitutional differences between the two houses as the final authority in the constitution. That constitution treats the two houses equally except in certain financial matters which are to be the sole purview of the house of the people. In regard to what these are, the speaker is the final authority. This position is perfectly clear and cannot be and has not been challenged at any stage. Unfortunately, some words were used by my colleague, the Law Minister, while speaking in the Council of the States on April 29, which led to a misunderstanding. That misunderstanding could have been easily removed by a direct reference to him. This was not done, and the matter was raised in the House. Further misunderstanding then arose as between the two houses and questions of privilege were raised, and it was stated that the dignity of this house had been affected. At of all are jealous of maintaining the dignity and authority of this house and the speaker who represents this house. Indeed, all of us are anxious to maintain the dignity and authority of both houses which constitute parliament. My colleague the law minister is as anxious as any of us to maintain that dignity and authority, and it has been a matter of the greatest regard to him that any words of his sound have led people to believe otherwise and further led to certain occurrence in both houses which disturbed for a while the cooperative and friendly atmosphere which must be necessity prevail in both houses of parliament. Owing to some of these occurrences, he was placed in an embarrassing position where to carry out the directives of one house might appear as if he had ignored the direction of the other. In this dilemma, he might have produced an impression of not having shown the usual consideration which is the duty of every member. But that was far from his intention, and he regarded it and trust that the House will accept this apology for any mistake which he might have endeavor committed. So far as the facts are concerned, they are clear, although unfortunately my colleague, the law minister, was not aware of all the them. At all time the first reference was made to this matter in the Council of States. It is clear and beyond possibility of dispute that the Speaker's authority is final in declaring that a bill is a money bill when the Speaker gives his certificate to this effect. This cannot be challenged. The Speaker has no obligation to consult anyone in coming to a decision or in giving his certificate, but he has himself decided to ask for opinion of the law minister here. Stop.